Well, what is going on, everybody? How you guys doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you guys doing?
I'm great. Zach, how you feeling?
Fired up, man. I don't even know what to do with myself at this point. It's been a long day, fellas. It's almost here, so I'm stoked.
It is almost here, and it's funny because I'm like totally amped and like the adrenaline's flowing because I rebooted my computer at 6:15 and literally like I marched in at 6:30. Like this has never happened. So my computer wasn't quite ready for any of this, but apparently we're ready. So welcome everybody into the Buffalo Fanatics Tailgate, the PM edition of the Buffalo Fanatics Tailgate. I am your host, Joe Miller, and I'm here with my two co-hosts. To my left, your right is Clay Troya. Tell them about yourself, Clay.
So I run the Counterpoint podcast that comes out every Wednesday. Last week we had Arthur Moats on, former Bill and Steelers. So the premise of that podcast, we like to go out and talk to people from the other team that we're going to face, learn a little bit more about them before the game time. And you can also find me on Twitter over here. I got it on the right side first try at Clayton Troya or at Clay Troya. So follow me on Twitter as well.
And down at the bottom is the Z-Bot himself. Zach, tell us about yourself.
What's up, everybody? Z-Bot, Bot Talks Bills, which is now renamed. It is Bot Talks Buffalo, so make sure you don't get confused. A little bit of a rebranding there. The fellas all know what's going on. So it's Bot Talks Buffalo every Tuesday. Last week, we had Brother Bill on, which was a lot of fun. Judge joined the show, and this week, hopefully we'll have another awesome game to talk about. That'll be out Tuesday, so look for that on the Fanatics Network. And then like Clay, let's see if I can get it. Yeah, it's right there. We both got it for the first time this week. Twitter at ZachB22. So shoot the follow.
And I am Joe Miller. As I said, you can find me on Twitter at Joe Miller Wired, and I am the host, the voice, if you will, of the Overreaction. Well, it was the Bills podcast, the Overreaction Sports podcast, which is now just a Buffalo football podcast. And welcome in. It's funny to me, and this is where I'm going to start. And I want to get your guys' takes. Last week, coming into Monday Night Football, all there was on Sunday was how everybody hated anything that was not at 1 o'clock. I hate anything that's not 1 o'clock. And there has been no chatter about that at all. So this is my question, Clay. Is that because of everybody's PTSD that is based around being afraid of being in or under the primetime lights and laying an egg? Or is it literally because people are just impatient? I think I know what my answer is. What's your answer?
I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, I know that people, historically over the past, couple decades, really, the Bills have just not performed well in prime time. So I could understand why, there's a little bit of PTSD, a little bit of trauma associated with games like that. And also people just don't want to wait to watch the Bills. We as a fan base are so, excitable. And every morning we're used to be able to get up and get excited and the game's right on, only, a few hours after you wake up. So it's a little bit of a change, but, I think a little bit of both comes into play.
Gotcha. And the question that I have for you, Zach, is this. So if for those that have been watching, or maybe those that have not been watching the 1 o'clock games, the Chiefs beat the Dolphins. So this is my question. With the Chiefs beating the Dolphins, that puts them down another game. So 2.5 games if the Bills were to win. Is the pressure off for the Bills tonight? Does this game maybe mean a little bit less than it would had the Dolphins won?
See, in my opinion, right when you're asking me that, going into this game, I'm not even thinking about the Dolphins. I wonder if the Bills are either. I think going into this one, it's not a matter at this point if you're going to win the division. It's a matter of, are you going to go out and are you going to beat a league top tier contending team in the Steelers who just lost their first game a week ago? If I'm the boys in the locker room, if I'm Sean McDermott, if I'm a player, I don't think Miami crosses my mind at this point. The only thing I'm thinking about is we have an opportunity on Sunday Night Football, the biggest stage of them all when it comes to the NFL, to knock off a team who just last week was undefeated. This is an opportunity for the Buffalo Bills, similar to what they had on Monday night, to prove to the world that they are indeed a Super Bowl contender. And let's talk a little bit about the primetime situation in general, as Joe just alluded to. What happened after Monday night when the Bills destroyed the San Francisco 49ers? They were the top headline on anything you could turn on throughout the day on Wednesday. And the talk was Josh Allen is an MVP candidate and the Bills are for real. That's what you get from these primetime games. You get a lot more focus on you. Yep. So to me, I don't think it matters what Miami's done. The talk tomorrow will be if the Bills win. This team is a legitimate Super Bowl contender. They are the Chiefs' biggest problem going forward.
Yeah, those are my two opening questions. You guys nailed it. That was really, really good. On my podcast, my preview show that came out today for this Bills game, I I focused on basically, we're at the point. So the Bills have crossed off so many things, whether it's, the first Monday night win since the 90s or Bills, Brother Bill has a great gif where he's got all the different things that the Bills have crossed off this year.
Yeah.
And for me, the thing that's left to be crossed off can happen tonight. And that thing is we've seen the Bills, even in the bad years, put a decent game together against a good football team. But there's pieces of this stuff. So it's like playing against a good team, playing on prime time, doing this, doing that. For me, the next step for the Bills is literally to put two good back-to-back games together and beat two good football teams. We've got one on Monday night against the Niners. The next one is tonight. That's what I want to see. I want to see the Bills come out. I'm not saying they won't have trouble. We saw them have trouble early in in Arizona. Clay and I went through that last a couple weeks ago, back and forth. So I'm not saying that there won't be adversity, but I want to see them come out confident, and I want to see them lay the wood down and be the team that we all expect them to be. 2 weeks in a row, be two good teams back to back. Clay, thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's the opportunity for the Bills to kind of cement themselves in the league right now. They had kind of a prove-it game. They've had a countless number of prove-it games so far this season. You could say the Rams, the Seahawks, the 49ers on Monday night, and now tonight as well. They've had no shortage of prove-it games, and if they win all these games, last week they won their game that was in prime time, and they really showed out against a top 5 passing defense, and now they're going up against the number 2, number 1 passing defense in the league. And it's another opportunity for them to solidify themselves as, a real contender at the top of the league that they can make a deep playoff run as well.
Yeah, it's exciting stuff. So I peppered you guys with some questions just to kind of get the show going. So we're about 10 minutes in. There's about 160 people here. Welcome again, everybody. Those of you that have joined us into the Buffalo Fanatics Tailgate show. I am your host, Joe Miller. My co-hosts are Clay Troya and Zach down at the bottom. Welcome. Whatever platform you're watching us on or listening to us on, please smash that like. So if you're on YouTube, smash the like. If you're on Facebook, smash the like. If you're on Twitter, smash it. Also share it. Get some more Bills Mafia up in here. We got about an hour and a half before the game starts. If you have DirecTV like myself, my guess is you'll probably be watching it in Spanish tonight. So 410 is the number that you need to know. If you've got DirecTV, if you're in the chat, this is worth a super chat right here. Somebody needs to send me $50. If you've got DirecTV, channel 410, the Bills game will be on in HD in Espanol. So you might have to throw on the game on the AM radio or figure out some way to listen to the audio, like the NFL app. You can listen to the audio, but you can watch it if you have DirecTV. It'll just be in Espanol. But yeah, so you can chat us. You can be a part of the conversation. Super chats get priority. With that, what's got you nervous tonight, Zach?
Wow. I think all in all, from a fan's perspective, the nerves, and it's like you guys just spoke on, the way I think out of all the things surrounding a primetime game, I love all of it. I love it truly.
Me too.
The waiting around is unreal. We're not used to this. You're sitting around on Sunday here. The games, for the most part today, kind of blew. They kind of sucked all around. So you're just kind of waiting around. And that, to me, is the biggest nerve-wracking thing as far as fans go, or a fan perspective goes. Going into the game, though, I think the biggest concern has to be TJ Watt. Bud Dupree's out, and that is the cornerstone of the defense. And we know that the Bills' O-line can be exposed by top-tier defensive line play. I think TJ Watt is as good as it gets, and that's probably going to be a focal point. What I'm looking to see, how do the Bills counteract TJ Watt's game? That had to have been a focal point all throughout the week as far as coaching is concerned. I'm very interested to see how the game plan around how they're going to avoid TJ Watt, and does it wind up hurting them or does it wind up being a benefit? Because I think if you try to go away from that side too much, they can read into it. They can obviously anticipate what's coming. So the biggest thing for me, as far as, what I'm concerned about, how are we going to be able to contain TJ Watt?
Yeah. Clay, what do you think?
TJ Watt was going to be my answer as well, but Minkah Fitzpatrick on the back end is also going to be a big concern. And really, I think the biggest concerns for us are going to be on the defensive end for this game, just because they're considered the best defense in the league, as far as points against goes. So it's going to be a scary kind of a thing, especially when you've got your offense coming off a red hot win on Monday night. Are they going to be able to come in and deal with these guys like Watt and like Minkah Fitzpatrick and kind of be able to scheme around these guys and be able to really take advantage of it. And, it was kind of, the Bills have had a little bit of practice now because they went up against Joey Bosa a few weeks ago. So maybe that'll, is kind of a little bit of a feeler for how to handle kind of like a very disruptive pass rusher like that. But Minkah Fitzpatrick on the back end is definitely the best guy in their secondary, and he's going to be someone you want to look out for. He knows how to read the quarterback's eyes and knows what's going on back there.
Yeah, good. So we got a couple super chats to get to. The first one is from Craig Knauer, who I'm guessing is related to Captain Knauer from The Longest Yard. Maybe anyone? Come on, that was a good joke. Maybe not. That's a dad joke. I'm a dad. I'm sorry. I apologize to Bills Mafia. Wishful thinking that the Bills will be the talk of the sports networks if they win tonight. After the Seahawks win, the focus was what's wrong with the Seahawks. Buffalo got no credit, no respect. I love the fact that when you said what you said, Zach, that you said on Wednesday, because on Tuesday, the Bills were not the talk of the town. They were on some channels, but like literally I got to bed after my pod. I know you were up late, so you had to record on Monday night as well. And I recorded on Monday night, and I got to bed about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning and was up at 7 for Good Morning Football. I was like, this is it. Like, they're going to talk about the Bills finally. They did like a 45-second highlight reel, and the rest of the hour was everything but the Bills. Like I put it in my show, like that I heard more about the Nutri-Grinder in the first hour of Good Morning Football after the Bills beat the Niners in prime time than I did about the Bills. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't know that the Bills are necessarily getting the love that they should be getting, to Craig's point, but I think this is it. I think this is I think there's a corner to be turned here, if that makes any sense from a media standpoint, from an outlook standpoint, especially with the way the Chiefs played. But there's going to be a lot of conversation about how the Chiefs played today too, because Pat didn't have his best game. Brian Bowers, my guy, Brian Bowers with the super chat. We got the voice, Z-Bot, and the Manscaped rep, Clay. Where would you rather be than right here, right now? With that, I know he's ready. I know he's chomping at the bit. So this is the Buffalo Fanatics Tailgate Show, brought to you by Manscaped. And with that, this is Clay Troya for Manscaped.
Bills fans, are your pubes looking like an Iowa farmland? If they are, you got to go to manscaped.com. Get yourself a perfect package 3.0. Use code Fanatics and turn those crops into a field of dreams. If you build it, they will come.
Well done. Well done. I told the guys over at BF that they need to tag you and do the highlight reels from everyone that you've read so that you can legit get on the Manscaped payroll. So that is freaking awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, the show is brought to you by Manscaped, and if you jump over to manscaped.com and you put in the promo code Fanatics, we're going to give you 20% off of anything that you order and free shipping. So jump over to that right now. The Pullout King, speaking of like perfect timing right there, Manscaped, Pullout King, it all works. Thank you for the super chat. I would pay double to watch this game in the Ralph. I think we are punching down the Steelers. We are better than them as long as we don't hurt ourselves. It is going to come down to mistakes. I love... Was it Wednesday? It was Wednesday with you and me, Clay, right? When the conversation was, why are we always talking about what the Bills have to do to beat other teams? When are we going to start talking about what they have to do to beat us?
Yeah.
And I took that to heart and like literally was like, you know what? That's kind of right. Like maybe it is time to start talking about what teams have to do to beat us. So first things first, we're going to have to play not mistake-free football, but every game. The NFL is hard to win. It's hard to win in the NFL. And if you go out there and do what Pat Mahomes did and put out 3 interceptions, chances are you're not going to win. The Bills have done a decent job of the times that they've made mistakes of being able to cover them up or come back or, take care of business. But mistakes are going to be a big part of it if we can eliminate them. But I love that question. You talked about the defense, Clay. I'm not as concerned about the defense just because of the amount of holes. Minkah Fitzpatrick, Josh Allen has seen a lot of Minkah Fitzpatrick when he was with the Dolphins. Clearly, and I'd like to get back to that conversation about TJ, and I'm going to ask Zach this question. TJ Watt is going to be a problem. However, Darrell Williams, by far, is the unsung hero of this football team. You're talking about a guy that was brought in. I forget where he was drafted. Wasn't he a first-round draft pick for the Panthers? I want to say he was high. You're not sure? I know he was a high draft pick, but he didn't play well there. The Bills bring him in, and all of us were kind of like, yay, like, why are they bringing this kid in? And he comes in, he secures the position, and has just done his job, right? So the question I have for Zach is, are we in a situation where you're looking at Darrell Williams and Feliciano being able to stack up TJ Watt and probably Cam Hayward? Are we going to be, do you think that's a successful matchup for the Bills? Are they going to be able to beat us, or do you think we're going to be okay there?
It's a good question. And I wonder, obviously I think the double team is in play here, but I look back to the game against the Rams. And up until the late fourth quarter, Aaron Donald really wasn't much of a factor. He didn't get going late into the game. I look last year, and it just seems to be the way it goes. You're waiting for these guys to make plays. I remember in that game specifically, I was waiting for Donald to do something. He started getting it going late in the game, very similar to the playoff game last year. J.J. Watt was nowhere to be found. He actually changed a tide in that game in the second half. I don't think there's any way to shut him down in TJ Watt. I do think the double team is obviously going to be in effect. I'm not necessarily asking for a shutdown. For me, it's going to come down to more of schematics. I don't think that you're going into this game, much like you are with the top tier, defensive lineman that you have to play in this league. You don't go into the game expecting to stop him, but you go into the game expecting to find a way to beat him in other ways. So I'm interested to see if the screen game gets a lot of attention tonight. You allow TJ Watt to feel like he's getting pressure. He's getting in. The Bills posted out. And I also wonder, and the biggest question I have is, what is the effect within the run game going to be tonight? Are you going to try to establish the run on this Pittsburgh D? The Bills, in my opinion, had a successful run game to their standards against San Francisco. And I think they also did against the Chargers. So I'm wondering in this one with TJ Watt and, the question you just posed, how are they going to address him? Is the run game going to be the thing that's affected the most? Are they going to be able to establish it?
Yeah, that's good. And I know Clay's in the North Towns. I'm in the South Towns. I'm about 10 minutes from the stadium. Zach, are you in Buffalo?
I'm a Rochester guy, but I was just in Buffalo over the weekend. I drove by to give my best wishes before the game kicked off.
Gotcha. No, I was just talking about the weather. It's cold out. It's brisk. It's about 36, 38 degrees. It's not windy out. There's a little bit of a breeze, but the weather should not be a problem, and it is not raining. We'll get right to your question. But Captain Knauer is a member of the Bing squad, so we got to get Rico's bell up in here. Bing, biggity, Bing. Welcome to the family, Craig. Appreciate you becoming a member. To that point, and I want to go the opposite side. So Clay, I'm going to let you answer that question about us establishing the run against Pittsburgh. So why don't you take that one?
Yeah, so I think they're going to want to establish some kind of run game, but I don't think that that's going to be something that they're really going to lean on a lot, and that's just because the Steelers defense, their bread and butter is man coverage, and you can't really play man coverage against the Bills. So and I've talked about this as well. We've seen that that Josh Allen can tear up a man defense, which he showed week 1 through 4 and against the Seahawks, and then he can also tear up a zone defense, which we just saw on Monday night. So not only will it be, a nightmare trying to game plan for how you're going to stop Josh Allen, but if you're playing zone on him, that's something that you're not familiar with, and we just saw him tear up. So do you stick with man, and do you try to say that you can cover Diggs and Beasley man to man, which is a very tall task for one guy or two guys to be able to cover Stephon Diggs. So I think that's going to be kind of the biggest thing, really, as far as keys to the game. I do think they'll try to sprinkle in the run game like they did against the 49ers. It was effective enough to still be a threat, and that's all they really need from the run game.
Yeah, no, that's super good. And for me, it's what I've been talking. Clay, you've heard me. Zach, you've heard me. Like, the Bills are a pass-first offense. I don't think the weather tonight is a situation where they're going to have to deter themselves, or it's going to deter them from passing first. I think they need to set up the run with the pass. I think that's what we're going to see. I think we get both. I'm hoping that it clicked, right? I'm hoping that it clicked for Josh Allen on Monday night. I got Beasley in early, and it took those guys like Minka Fitzpatrick and brought them forward, because it's like, well, we got to stop that. Like, we can't let them do that all night long. Yes, there'll be long extended drives, but they're going to score on us eventually. So hopefully we'll see that. I had a great conversation with John Fina on the Off Tackle with John Fina show. And when I asked him what he felt the Bills would have to do defensively against this Pittsburgh team, he went the opposite direction of what I thought. Because I thought for sure with those wideouts, Ben Roethlisberger, you're going to try to stop the pass. You're going to make him run on you, which basically we're going to see a situation like the Chiefs where they're running through holes, as wide as our houses. And John said the complete opposite. John said, we know what we have in the secondary. We know those guys, Trey, Hyde, Poyer, and what's back there. And he said, what we need to do is we need to lock down the run on the Steelers and make them pass on us and make them work into the strength of our defense. What do you think about that, Zach?
Yeah, it's an interesting point. I wonder how effective that will be. Yeah, because the Steelers' run game is nothing shy of absolutely terrible. They're actually to the point now where they've completely abandoned it. I don't really know if the Bills have to force them to throw the ball for them to throw the ball at all, because I just think that that's going to be the primary focus. But what I've seen out of the Bills all year is their ability to shut down wide receiver ones, and whether that's Claypool or Juju tonight, I don't know what the situation will wind up being. But I have seen absolutely no production from Hopkins. I saw nothing. Metcalf had a very poor game against the Bills up until late, and then just the other week, going against Keenan Allen. Exactly right. Yep, so yep. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, I don't necessarily think the Bills are going to have to force the Steelers for them to throw it, but they're going to throw it, and I'm all right with that. If you take away their top guy, then I don't know. I like the Bills' chances in this one due to the fact that I've watched the Steelers over the last several weeks not put together very good performances on offense. And I think the Bills' D is hitting stride at the most opportune time. Absolutely. And the way that they're able to shut down the pass game, especially top-tier wide receivers, I just think the Steelers are going to struggle without a run game.
Yeah, who is their top wideout, though? Because the question that I have, and I think I asked this to Clay, is the success of Claypool eating into Juju's numbers? Are we at a point where there's not enough ball to go around this offense? Like, who's the top guy, Clay? Who's the top guy in this football team?
It's got to be Juju, and that's just because we've seen from Claypool's snap count, it dropped off a couple, for the past few weeks. He has been dealing with, I think, some injuries. He's been listed on the injury report, I think, but nothing too bad to keep him out. But I think it might be hurting them a little bit where there are too many guys to go around. So if you only want to run a 2 wide receiver set, they've been putting, they have James Washington, Deontay Johnson that they can put in. But really, I think now's the time. If Claypool healthy, he should be the one that's in. Deontay Johnson's really struggled with drops so far. But yeah, I do think that there is a little bit of a, kind of going along with the run game here for what we were talking about as well with the Steelers. Marquise Pouncey's back. And James Conner's back. So those are going to be 2 factors that contribute to the Steelers' run game as well. It's been really bad because, those 2 guys haven't been around, and that's been something that's been a problem with why they haven't been able to get the run game going. So I think I kind of would disagree with John Fina and say make them run first, make them show that they can run. Maybe kind of attack this the same way that you attacked the the game against the Chiefs, and then hopefully he doesn't go off like CEH did. But yeah, I think that would probably be the best strategies really, because Ben Roethlisberger is the guy. He's the guy that runs the offense. So if you can stop him and make them run the ball, it seems like that would be pretty effective to me.
Disagreeing with John Fina. Bold strategy, Cotton.
Well, he was a lineman, okay? He wasn't an offense or a defensive coordinator.
Yeah, that was a bold strategy by him. I'm shocked he went with that angle because it's out there. Yeah.
Me too. Jason Miller, thank you so much for the super chat. Having an established run game will be key to keep Watt in check. Steelers not having Dupree on injury helps us. Short passing game with Beasley and Diggs will be key. That's absolutely true. I have one more super chat. There's a lot to talk about. I'm excited for this football game. I thought there was one more super chat. Did I miss one?
You're looking for that anyway. Having so they've got Dupree out, and they also have the backup Spillane out, who was filling in and doing very well in Dupree's spot. They're on a 3rd string guy at this point for that position. So that definitely is going to be a factor.
Yeah, for sure. Darrell Williams was an all-pro a few years ago. And my only point to that was that, yes, I know he was, but there was a great deal of they just let him walk out the door. And there wasn't a whole lot of fanfare mainly around him. So it was kind of a womp signing when we signed him. Nobody was really super duper excited about him. Pullout King has another super chat. My only worry about this game, the Bills game for the Bills, is Wallace. Yeah, I mean, the good news is, and we talked about it a lot, and it was on Twitter a lot, if he does allow receptions in front of him, which he's going to, the reality is he's going to make the tackle. So that's good, right? So I don't know where we land with that. I don't know where. Wallace is an issue. I'm looking now for the I was told that the whatchamacallits were in the they're at the bottom. They're rolling at the bottom. Scroll. Gotcha. I thought they were going to be abandoned.
Hayden out too. That's big.
That is huge. Yeah. So clearly he's still in concussion protocol. How are we on superstitions? Because I'm 2-0 in this bad boy. It has not been washed. 2-0, and I am wearing it again. And last week it needs to come up. We started the Primetime Tailgate show. The 3 of us did, right?
That's true.
The Bills manhandled the 49ers in that football game. So where are you guys on superstitious, not superstitious?
Yeah, I mean, only a little stitious for me, where it's we're all superstitious to an extent because we're Bills fans, and so many weird things have happened to us that it's like, oh, what did I do differently it's not going to affect the game at all. But I got a new jersey on today, but
is it Diggs?
It is. Yeah,
Nice.
it is a Diggs jersey. I got my
Nice.
color rush here. So,
Nice.
yeah, new color rush. We'll see how that goes. But I think when I wear the jersey color of the color we're wearing, I think we're undefeated. So hopefully that we stick with that one.
Gotcha. What about you, Zach? Any superstitions?
Spot on. I wear the exact jersey color. I just like cohesiveness. So I have to be in unison with the team. Yeah, like he said, in the words of Michael Scott, just a little stitious in that department. The one thing that I do is I have to watch the game with my dad. And with that, I can't watch the game with anybody else. We get really crazy to the point where, I don't know. I mean, you could probably document us and send us to an asylum, the way things go in the house when the games are going down, especially these big ones. But that's my superstition. It's just got to be with the dad, got to be quiet by ourselves and watch him take it.
But Phil Demore has donated a super chat to you, and what he wants to know is, do the Bills cover?
Okay, wow. Okay, so, well, that's a tough one.
Spot on the spot. That should have been the show name.
Oh, you could be onto something there. You could be onto something. Well, no, I do know Phil quite well. He is a degenerate gambler, so I'm sure he is chopping at the bit for the answer to this. Awesome. I think the game comes down to the spread. There's no way that this game doesn't wind up being a one possession game. In that regard, you got to remember, like last week, the Steelers opened up as the favorites. That pushed all the way to the Bills being the favorites, just how the Bills opened up as underdogs last week, and they wound up, or as the favorite, they wound up being the underdog. I think the Bills cover because it's only at -2 right now. I don't see it being a 1-point game. I think it winds up coming down to a last-minute field goal for one of these teams. So I think the Bills are going to win. And I think it's going to come down to a one-possession game. That tells me the Bills cover. So I would take the Bills -2 tonight for sure.
Gotcha.
But bet your whole savings, Phil. Be careful.
We got 2 minutes left. So we got Zach's prediction. Why don't we get your prediction there, Clay?
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I think the Bills are going to win this game, and I honestly don't feel like it's going to be as close as a lot of people think. I feel like it's going to be, a 7-point, maybe a 10-point win. I don't really think that the Steelers team is as good as their record is. They just lost to, a Washington team that does have a good defense, and they play defense very well, and they showed that they were able to do that. And it's a little bit of a healthier roster that we're going up against. But I don't think there's going to be too much of an issue. The Bills are really hot right now. They're playing with a lot of confidence. They're the healthiest they've ever been. Really the only key guy that they're missing is John Brown. And the defense is looking great as well. Phil, also, I just have to say, if you need help locating the caps lock button on your keyboard, let me know. I can help you find that.
I originally, when I was on the show with you on Wednesday, the Hump Day Hotline, Clay, I think I said 32. And when I told John Fina 32, he was like, how many field goals they kicking? And I was like, I had to start doing math. So I think I landed at 34. So 34, 27, 28, 31, 34. So 34. So I had us at like 34 to, I think I said 27 or something like that is what I've got. But there's the Judge-ster. What's up, Judge?
Just going to go from the voice to the vulgar drunk asshole.
Yeah, I'm going to peace out. I got to be out of here in about 30 seconds. But I just hope that the boho mojo, hashtag, so Judge coined hashtag Air Raid Allen, and I'm hashtagging Bojo Mojo. So I'm just hoping that the Bojo Mojo carries us one more week in primetime, and we beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't care what the score is. Let's just get the dub and come out of here 10-3. Yeah.
Here's my question for you before you head out.
Yeah.
I'll give you some time to think about this, and you can maybe answer it on your podcast.
I might not need time.
If the Bills win the Super Bowl, will you change the name of your podcast to the Bojo Mojo Hour?
Ooh.
I'm going to need some time to think about that one. Fellas, have a great show. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back into the tailgate. We never even left, believe it or not. I'm just going to smoothly transition here from Joe Miller, and we have the inactives in. Before we get talking about the inactives and a couple of other things and pick up where we left off, if you are tuning in, because we got about 180 people in here right now, and only 62 have smashed that like. So if you could do us a huge favor and smash that like, that'd be greatly appreciated. It helps us with the whole algorithm thing and get noticed more by the people. So one of the things that stood out to me, seeing as the inactive list is the same as it has been every single week since the bye week, with the exception of Jaquan Johnson this week because of injury. Tyler Kroft is once again inactive for Lee Smith. And I'm going to start with you, Clay. Darrell Williams is going to be going mano-a-mano with TJ Watt over there on the right side of the offensive line. Would the Buffalo Bills be better serviced just putting their tight end, whether it's Dawson Knox or Lee Smith, and just double the hell out of TJ Watt the entire game, or at least chip TJ Watt the entire game? Or is that a waste of resources?
No, it's not a waste. If you can get hands on TJ Watt, that's not a waste of resources. I think doubling, chipping, we're going to see it. I kind of talked on this. I can't remember when it was, but I talked on this a little bit where someone in a quick chat, this must've been during the Hump Day hotline. Someone in the chat, asked if, if Tyler Kroft was ever going to come back. Are we ever going to see more Tyler Kroft? And I said, yes, we will, but I don't think it's going to be this week. And the reason for that being is TJ Watt's going to be on the field and you got to take care of him. So they're going to call up their big guy, Lee Smith. He's the blocker. He's a leader. So I think that he'll be an extra blocker every once in a while. And we also like to see him, they put him in as a blocker. He'll chip and he'll go up for a route sometime. We've seen him get open, even if he's not getting looked at. So, I think that Lee Smith is the right guy to go with for now. I think we will see Kroft back when there's not so much of a threat up there on the defensive front.
Right. Speaking of Dawson Knox, one of the hotter takes this week that I've heard around Bills Mafia, and including a couple of times on the BF Writers Room, on my Thursday show, is Dawson Knox. Now, when the Buffalo Bills made the decision to put Lee Smith into the lineup, because he's more of a natural blocker than Tyler Kroft, they had a decision to make. Who's the other tight end we're going to elevate? And they chose Dawson Knox over Tyler Kroft. And they said, listen, Dawson, you're the better athlete. You're the better blocker, but you are more prone to mistakes. You got to go out there and you need to play mistake-free football. And for the most part, he has played mistake-free football. In fact, the last 2 weeks, he's had 2 goal line touchdowns. Now, the hot take that I've been hearing on Bills Mafia this week is this is the week he picks it up. With all those inside linebackers out, he actually starts to add some yards to that total. Bot, do you think there's anything to this take? Do you see some more yards for Dawson Knox this week, some more targets?
Well, I would love it. And that was actually what I was going to touch on. I don't even know that was the take, but what I was going to say is I'd love to see them try and get him a little bit more involved. It almost seems like he's not part of the offense until you get down into the red zone. I'd love to see more out of him. And I think it comes down to the fact that he doesn't get much of an opportunity, but I think that speaks to the fact that you have Beasley, Diggs, and you had Brown up until now, but you also have an emerging Gabriel Davis. I feel like it's tough to get a guy like Knox involved when you have so much firepower. So I'd like to see more out of him because I think he's capable. We saw, several times throughout the last couple of years that he has the capabilities of being a good tight end, but like you just mentioned, it's mistake-free football. That's been his biggest issue. But the last 2 weeks, he's got a touchdown. I'd like to see that. But what I want to know is, can they get him involved outside of the red zone game? Can they hit him over the middle, kind of utilize him perhaps like you would Beasley, going cross patterns and get him a little bit more involved? Because I think he's good enough to do it. And I think it would throw the opposing defense off. How much film is there on Allen targeting Knox this season? I couldn't really tell you. There's not much of it at all. So that would be I'd like to see that come true. I think it would help the Bills out, and it would definitely show a bit of, a different game plan than we've seen from the past as far as getting him involved.
Yeah. And Clay, back to you. A couple of people in the comments section here. One person says, target Cole Beasley more than you target Dawson Knox. Obviously, I think you want that. But Mike Hilton is a pretty good slot corner for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he's one of the few healthy corners they have. Their 2 boundary corners, Nelson and Hayden, will not be playing in this game, which leaves more youthful, Justin Payne and Cortland Sutton, guys who probably aren't the worst cornerbacks in the world, but they certainly aren't savvy veterans like a Stephon Diggs. Is this the game where we maybe see Diggs erupt for more than just the dink and dunk stuff, and he gets himself the ball down the football field?
I think we're at least going to see a few deep shots for Diggs. I think he's going to be able to get open on those just because they do like to run man coverage. And if they do it against Diggs, it's not going to go well for them every single time. So, we saw it last week too, when Sherman was covering Diggs. He did a very smart veteran move of just holding him instead of allowing him to get free on what would have been a wide open deep ball. And I don't know if these guys are going to be smart enough to do something like that. If Diggs breaks free on him, are they just going to take the hold and get the 5 yards and a first down? Or are they going to let him score a touchdown? I mean, I don't know if they have that kind of savvy yet. So I think it'll be interesting to see. I still think target Beasley a lot. And I even think Knox could could get involved, over the middle there too. There's so many different ways that you could get a tight end involved. That, just if you watch the Chiefs play and what Andy Reid does with Travis Kelce to get him involved, there's so many different things that you can do. I really would like to see them kind of use more creative ways of doing that to get Knox involved. But yes, Diggs, I think, is going to have a lot of opportunities today.
A comment here from PJ Ty says they're going to bracket Diggs. No doubt. They have some pretty good safeties back there. Minkah Fitzpatrick and Edmonds. Edmonds plays closer to the line of scrimmage, but obviously everyone knows how good Minkah Fitzpatrick is. He also comments deep ball to Davis. And this is something that, I know that John Brown is out and he's obviously your other boundary receiver. But one of the things that I've wanted to see infused into this offense the last couple of weeks that I haven't seen is the use of Gabe Davis in the slot. With the middle linebackers out and with Mike Hilton, the nickel corner for Pittsburgh, being on the smaller side, could this be a week where maybe we see Brian Daboll mix it up and move Gabe Davis into the slot? What do you think, Bot?
I'd actually like that. I might be the only Bills fan on the planet who doesn't sit around advocating for the deep ball. I don't really want it, to be honest. This team is so good at dinking dunking down the field. It not only takes time off the clock. They run 13 play drives for 8 minutes and get in the end zone. When they get down to the end zone or to the red zone, they usually punch it in. I don't really think I need the Bills blasted bombs down the field, because if you look at it, you see the Chiefs just earlier today. I mean, they get quick scores better than anybody. Then all of a sudden it's a close game. They don't run much time off the clock. If you get Gabe Davis involved in that situation, I think it pans out better in the Bills' favor, because you're probably going to have Minkah Fitzpatrick bracketing off Diggs, as we just discussed. That's why I think Cole Beasley, just like last week, should have a very similar role in this game. But why not double down on that and have Gabe Davis run the opposite side and do kind of what you're alluding to? I think that is a solid idea. Now, obviously, I'm not saying eliminate the deep shots in general or in its entirety, but we just watched the Bills do whatever they want in the intermediate game against the 49ers. I would not go away from that until somebody finds a way to stop it.
We got a great comment in here from Brian Bowers. Brian always comes in clutch with the comments. He says, it doesn't matter how good Mike Hilton is. Beasley is a nightmare matchup in the slot. If the Steelers play man, Josh will cook extra crispy. And I agree with you, Brian. I think to a certain extent, like us talking about this game, we have to give Mike Hilton respect because he's a pretty solid nickel corner in the National Football League. But also Cole Beasley needs to get his respect too, because he's one of, if not the best slot receivers in the National Football League. So that's a great comment, Brian. Like, I think maybe we got to start living more in the headspace that like our players are really good too, and maybe not give the other team too much respect. But Clay, a question I've wanted to ask you is, I've heard from a couple of solid people this week that what the Pittsburgh Steelers like to do is generate most of their pressure up the middle, and they like to make the opposing teams make plays outside of the hash marks. That seems to me, despite the fact that Josh Allen holds onto the ball a little bit longer than other quarterbacks, I think he holds the ball in the second most longest in the National Football League. If he can elude guys like TJ Watt and he can get outside of the pocket, we saw last week him making plays. Does the way the Pittsburgh Steelers drop their defense actually play to the Buffalo Bills' advantage if Josh can get us outside the pocket and around TJ Watt?
Yeah, definitely. And I think, having a strong arm quarterback like Josh Allen, he doesn't have a problem getting it to the outside of the field. We've seen him run, there's one play I saw him run. I can't even remember who it was against. He looked one side for, it was a 10-yard out route to Diggs on one side, and as a 15-yard comeback to Brown on the other side. And he was able to drop back, look at his first read, and then go to his second read and still get the ball there in time on his second read on a timing route. So, I mean, things like that are not really things that we have to worry about just because Allen has an arm strong enough to be able to do that. And yeah, when he gets outside the pocket on his right side, we heard Louis Riddick talk about it, up and down on Monday night. He's dangerous when he gets outside, especially when he's hot like that. And his receivers now, I think, we saw John Brown do it a lot last season and the beginning of this season, but I think Beasley's really coming around and Diggs is really coming around on that scramble drill where they know where to go to get in Josh's vision and get to a place where he can put the ball on the sideline to them and they can do a little toe tap. We've seen, both of those guys do that at this point. So I do think that kind of plays into the hands of Josh Allen quite a bit.
We got PJ Ty coming in with a great question, and Bot, we'll start with you, and Clay, I'll let you get your input as well. Switching over to the defensive side of the ball. PJ Ty says, do you blitz Roethlisberger? I'm curious how we make him uncomfortable. Do we just let the 4 rush and drop everyone back? And I think that's a great question because, number one, James Conner is back. And number two, Ben Roethlisberger is one of the quickest at getting the football out in the National Football League. So how exactly do you make Ben Roethlisberger feel uncomfortable when he gets that ball out so quickly. Zach, what do you think?
He does get the ball out quickly. What I've liked out of the Bills recently is they're getting pressure with the 4-man, and they're covering so well downfield that it's able to allow the play to progress to the point where they're getting pressure on the quarterback without having to send the house. But I think to make him uncomfortable, you really just have to play solid in the secondary, which the Bills have been doing week in and week out. I think the more that you take away his targets, the more likely he's going to hold on to the ball and things are going to go haywire. I know they're getting James Conner back. I just don't necessarily know if the run game is something I'm worried about tonight. And I think all week the Bills have been practicing on the fact that the sole focus for Pittsburgh is going to be throwing the ball. I'm interested as well to see if they do wind up sending the blitz. As you mentioned, no one's better at getting rid of the ball than Roethlisberger, but he's aging. And I think with a young D that the Bills have, being able to get in on him is going to be huge. And it's probably going to be an emphasis. But I think out of everything, it's more so about the coverage and maybe getting coverage sacks than it is sending the house and trying to get him down that way.
Yeah, Clay, what do you think? Because I know, is it just a case of Mario Addison and Jerry Hughes just got to have their biggest games of the year? Not that they're playing awful, but just that with a quarterback who gets rid of the ball so quick, it's got to be on Hughes and Addison and Oliver and Jefferson just to get to Ben Roethlisberger quicker? Or is there things that the Bills can scheme up to maybe get some pressure on such a quick releaser?
There's definitely ways that you can scheme it up. If you're bringing guys from unknown areas and then maybe he can get off free and come in fast. Roethlisberger is experienced. He'll tend to see that a lot of the times, but you might be able to get some of that in. But really what I was thinking is when you've got a guy that can get rid of the ball so fast like Roethlisberger is if you're not going to get there on your rush, sit back, watch his eyes, and go up and bat the ball down. We saw that against the Steelers last week with the Washington football team. They sealed the game off a tip ball interception like that. So if that's something that's going to happen, and he's got to throw over you no matter what. If you can't get there, it might be a good time to learn to bench your guy out and get your hand up and get your hand in the throwing lane. And the more times you do that, the more it's going to create havoc. And we have a ball hawking backfield that is not afraid to come up and get the ball when it's batted down like that. So I think that's going to be a real key, and hopefully we can see that a little bit from Oliver, who's been really doing a good job of eating up those double teams. Now, if we can see him eat up that double team and then get his hands up, I think that'll be a really big improvement, and just try to keep on him as much as possible, because when he's getting rid of the ball like that, it is hard to stop.
There was a report from Pro Football Talk that came out today that said the Steelers have a real concern about Ben Roethlisberger's knee and how much longer Ben Roethlisberger's knee can hold up as the season progresses. Could this be a situation where, we see Leslie Frazier, he likes to send like the Teron Johnsons of the world and the Jordan Poyers and the Micah Hydes on blitzes. Could this be a game where maybe we see sort of a resurrection of the A-gap blitz and we try to get Ben Roethlisberger out of the pocket and moving? Could that be something we see from the Buffalo Bills this game?
I mean, I think it's a possibility. I mean, to your point, I think it's obviously a concern. I'm shocked that Roethlisberger is at where he's at in his career right now at 11-1. I thought when they brought him back this year, after the year they had last year with going through the quarterback cycle and winding up with Duck Hodges and whatever, I really didn't think Big Ben coming back was going to make that much of a difference. Obviously it has, but when you play the style of play that he's played throughout his career, you're just getting banged up week in and week out. I'm shocked he's still around. I thought that might have been his last year. I think this year could be too. But yet again, they're 11-1, so who knows? But you have to target the weakness at this point. And if that's the weakness, and I think what you just brought up is a great idea. If you have quick outside guys getting pressure on him, there's no way he's going to be able to get out of that situation. So the more I think about it, that would be a perfect way to game plan against him, because I just don't see how, even with being able to get rid of the ball as quick as he does, I just don't think he has the athleticism anymore to possibly get around sending guys on the outside.
All right. Did Joe give you guys a chance to make your predictions before he took off at 5:10 or at 7:00?
I don't think so. I don't think we did scores.
Right,
now.
So let's get your guys' score prediction as you guys are going to head out. And in a moment, we'll bring in Dave Tilton and we'll bring in Kai on that. But Bot, what is your prediction for this game?
The biggest question for me in this one, nobody has scored 30 points all year against the Steelers. Can the Bills do it? Number one defense, allowing 17 points a game. So I think for me, going into this one, I want to see the Bills lay the hammer and get to 30. I don't think they get quite there, but 27 seems like the prime number to me that's going to get it done. I think the Bills wind up winning late, 27-24.
All right, Clay, how about you?
You must have been reading my mind because I was thinking very similar score. I was thinking 28-24. I don't know if it's going to be a huge point difference. I wouldn't expect anything really less than a 4-point difference. Like I said, I don't think it's going to be that close of a game. I think the Bills are going to kind of show that they are the better team today.
All right. Well, gentlemen, it has been a pleasure. I want to thank you guys so much. Clay is the host of the Counterpoint podcast that airs every Wednesday morning, where he sits down with somebody across enemy lines from the opposing team, and he gets an insider view of our opponent that maybe we don't see every week. So he was joined by Arthur Moats this week. He always gets the best of the best. So catch Clay's podcast on Wednesday morning. He's also a regular contributor to multiple video casts, including this one and the Hump Day Hotline with Joe Miller. And of course, what's his name? Scotty Grinnell himself. Is that his name? What's his name?
Who?
the radio guy bot. What's his name? Grinnell. What's his name?
Oh, yeah. I can never remember that guy's name, but yes, I think that's it.
The random guy who now does a degenerate gambling show, he streams it. So seems like your kind of guy. But anyway,
I got to tune in. Yeah.
Catch Bot on the Spot. Bot talks Buffalo every Tuesday morning on the Buffalo Fanatics Podcasting Network as well. And he is also a regular contributor on all of our video casts, including this game. So, gentlemen, I will see you guys at some point next week. Stay safe. Don't get too drunk. And hopefully you make it to work tomorrow. Go Bills.
Go Bills, fellas. Enjoy.
Well, not only blew up the Niners on Monday night, we're 9-3, still the beastly of the AFC Eastly, and heading under the bright lights again at home to take on the Steelers. You know our defense is going to be ready to clean Big Ben's clock, while our offense keeps stampeding down the field and gives Pity City their steel curtain call. I know we're all super stoked to have McBean around for another 5 years and keep our team humble and hungry as the media dogs us, doubts QB1, brings up games from 10 weeks ago, and says our defense isn't what it used to be. But Bills Mafia knows our team is here and here to stay. We need to rebel in being the underdogs and keep Buffalo the best-kept secret in the NFL. And we don't need any fair-weather fans, bandwagon jumpers, or pats on the back that hold no merit. We need to prove to people like Nick Wrong and Lip Say Less that the Bills are true contenders, Josh is a legit MVP candidate, and our defense is on the rise. And what better way to do that than in primetime? We are the Bills Mafia, and no matter what the record, stats, or accolades our opponents might have, we'll always believe, we'll always shout for our boys, and we'll always be Buffalo head to toe. Let's go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back in. I am joined by my co-host from the Air Raid podcast, or the Air Raid Hour, whatever you want to call it, formerly the Redacted guys, to Dave Tilton. You can find him on Twitter at TiltMoney. And I am joined by host of Nap Knows Buffalo, and also the Fantasy Hour that aired this morning from 11:30 to 12:30, Kyle Knapp. Gentlemen, how are you doing today?
I've been waiting all day for Sunday night, if that's what you're asking me. Also, Scotty Farrell is the guy you're thinking.
Have you been listening to Carrie Underwood all day like me?
No, but I wouldn't mind watching the intro video of her a few times.
I think he's been waiting all night or all day to say that, just to get that line out.
No, honestly, like really has been. It really has been like I've been doing like chores around the house. I've been like just trying to keep myself busy. Obviously, my wife's a big Packers fan, so we've been watching the Packers game up until this point in the afternoon. So just trying to keep myself busy, man. But it's like it is a long wait, but I'm ready for it. I'm excited. We're right at an hour now to go until the game starts, so I'm ready.
And we got BFL Mafia news. Shots fired. He says we're the budget version of Fanatics. Excuse me?
I don't know about that.
I don't know.
All right. Well, I'll take it. I'll take it. Hey. Some other network is airing some other things. Anyway, I try only to worry about ourselves. Anyway. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Colts stomped all over the Raiders. So for those of you who are not aware, what the Buffalo Bills needed, not to win the AFC East, but just to clinch a playoff spot, we needed the Chiefs to win, which they did. We needed the Colts to win, which they did. We need to win, and then we need the Browns and the Ravens. We need the Browns to beat the Ravens on Monday Night Football. So these could be two huge primetime games for us the next two nights. Bills Mafia will be glued to our televisions because the Chiefs did their job, the Colts did their job. Now the Bills got to do their job, and then if the Browns do it, it's not the AFC East, but we've clinched a playoff berth with 3 weeks to go, which would be absolutely outstanding and just a huge weight lifted from our shoulders here. But there was a couple of people in the comment section. We're having a great conversation. It was Scott Blakely, Brian Bowers, and somebody else. And I apologize for the third one I'm missing. I think it might've been Sergio Chavez. And what they were talking about was Buffalo Bills defense. And I want to start there with the Buffalo Bills defense today. And they said, listen, the way that these receivers like to run these short routes, the way that they like to just do those timing routes, those quick routes, and they dink and dunk the ball down the field with Ben Roethlisberger sort of in the state of his career that he is, and their running game sort of where it is right now, the Buffalo Bills would be maybe better off playing man coverage was the point that they were making. But I don't know if the Buffalo Bills are suited to play man coverage. This is a zone defense. Now, we've played man before when we felt like we needed to. We had some success against the Seahawks with it. We had not so much success against the Tennessee Titans with it, but that was sans Trey White. So what do you guys think about the defensive strategy in the secondary? Do we go man-to-man or do we stay zone? Dave, I'll stick with you.
No, I think we stay with zone. I mean, the reason being is, Pittsburgh's a pass-heavy team, right? We know that. It's been documented. Their rushing attack hasn't been what it has been in years past. Connor's back. I get that. But, Roethlisberger chucking the ball like almost 50 times a game. I think he had over 50 passing attempts against Washington and Baltimore the last two times, or it's very close to it. I would prefer to play zone and make Pittsburgh go down the field 12, 15 drives, prove that they can convert on multiple third downs, 3rd and 7s, 3rd and 8s, if you can, then giving them like a quote freebie against which is not our strength in man-to-man coverage. All it takes is one Chase Claypool bomb, one Deontay Johnson over the top. Like, I just don't want to give up a cheap one, I guess is what I'm saying. And I think because the Bills' strength has been zone coverage, and we saw, obviously the Titans game without Trey, but the game we played last year against Pittsburgh, albeit with Duck Hodges, Trey White had one of his best games of the year in that game. And, I think he's ready for prime time. I think the zone, I put a tweet out the other day. He has 3 picks in his last 4 games. So he's heating up. I'd like to see him continue that trend. But so my answer is no. I don't want to see man. I want to see zone. I want to see Pittsburgh forced to drive the ball 15 plays, convert multiple third downs on a drive if they're going to score. And that's my reasoning.
What do you think, Kyle?
I mean, I'm right there with you. I wouldn't play man-to-man either. I think zone is the Bills' bread and butter on defense. Why would you change what you're doing? Why would you change what you're best at? That's pretty much conceding, like, hey, we don't think that we can beat this team doing what we do best. And if the Bills are as good of a team as we think they are, they don't need to change how they play to beat opposing teams. So just go in there, line up across from the guy that you're supposed to be playing in your zone, whether they're playing situationally man-to-man, because obviously they do that every now and then. Mm-hmm. Just go there and be better than the guy across from you, and you'll be fine if you're playing zone. That's what they do best. Cover your zone, and they'll get by. They'll be okay. But with that, they have to be able to tackle. They have to, if they're going to let catches happen, like obviously the whole conversation with Levi Wallace this past week, like everybody was trashing him because he didn't have his best game. And like we all know that, let up a lot of receptions. But that's going to happen. When it happens, you just have to tackle them and not let them get extra yards after the catch. And to kind of add on to that with Levi Wallace, why, if we don't trust him in zone, like a lot of fans don't trust him and they don't know who to trust outside of Trey White. If Trey White's the only corner that we legitimately trust every single snap, why would we then want to put them in a harder spot and play man-to-man against, to be completely honest, good wide receivers? They drop some passes, but they're talented wide receivers. So why would we want to put them in harder positions to make the plays that we need them to make?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm with you. And Eric Kinsey comes in and says they're going to use some man because they are not afraid of Big Ben running. And while I would agree with that, you got to think of the matchups then. So you're going to put Trey White on Chase Claypool because you're afraid Claypool will beat you deep, which means it's probably going to be Levi Wallace on Deontay Johnson and Teron Johnson on Juju Smith-Schuster. And I don't trust either of those two in either of those matchups. You maybe want to give him the favor of playing off a little bit and sort of, as Dave said, give him those 3-4 yarders and make them convert on third down, make them work their way down the field, bend but don't break. All of those different scenarios. Scott Blakely comes into with a great take. He says, can't you press the coverage, but then back in his zone? That's something that maybe Leslie Frazier can throw in there to throw off the offensive coordinator of the Pittsburgh Steelers and Ben Roethlisberger. It could be a combination of three: play man some plays, play zone from some plays, and then do that sort of fake out where you start man and drop into zone. But what I want to see is kind of a combination of what Dave said and the fact that Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer are starting safeties, and Trey White is a veteran, and big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games, especially those veterans. So what I want to see is the Buffalo Bills drop back into that zone. I want to see guys like Mario Addison and Jerry Hughes, despite the fact that they're not going to have a lot of time, get in the face of Ben Roethlisberger, make him make some maybe off balance throws, and have those three veteran savvy guys in the secondary jump some balls and get some interceptions. So if the Buffalo Bills can pick the ball off 2 times this game, I really like our chances to win it if we can get 2 interceptions this game and win the turnover battle.
Well, that's a good point because I mentioned it on Thursday. Pittsburgh's tied for first in the NFL in turnover differential, right? They were plus 11 going into today with the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs, I don't know what the turnover differential was in that Miami game, but the point being is that the Steelers are protecting the football and they're taking it away. So if the Bills do win the turnover battle tonight, then a lot of things went our way, I feel like, in this game, and then we have a really good chance to win because the Steelers are not a team that that loses the turnover battle really at all this year.
Yeah, we got a great comment here from BFLO Mafia News. He says, is tonight a playoff atmosphere? And my comment to that is hell no, because number one, there are no fans in the stands. And number two, that Pittsburgh team is real. And James Conner is his first game back in a while. Ben Roethlisberger is apparently he's really struggling with that knee. And the defensive side of the ball, the Pittsburgh Steelers are without a lot of players. We talk about Bud Dupree, Devin Bush, Vince Williams, Steve Nelson, Joe Hayden. That Pittsburgh's defense is missing a ton of key players. So to me, this is not only a game that I don't think is going to mimic a playoff atmosphere like people think, but it's also a game where I'm going to be insanely disappointed if the Buffalo Bills don't win. Like being a good game, being close is not going to be some kind of moral victory for me tonight. I want to see the Buffalo Bills win because the Pittsburgh Steelers are reeling a hell of a lot more than the Buffalo Bills are reeling. The Bills are getting healthy and the Bills are getting hot. Pittsburgh's sort of in that opposite scenario where they've been struggling for a couple of weeks now. And now they have a whole bunch of injuries toppled on top of that. So the Buffalo Bills need to take advantage of that because that's what good teams do. And they need to win this football game. Because to me, like, I don't know about you guys. Is there any sort of moral victory tonight? Or do we need to get this dub? What do you think, Kyle?
No, I mean, you have to win. There was a lot of talk like from the national media, the talking heads in the national media of like, is this a statement game for the Bills? And there's a lot of going back and forth. I think it is in the sense that you have to win it to show that you're for real because the team is reeling. We've seen the Bills play against a team that didn't have all of their guys. They're kind of backs against the wall earlier with the Titans. And the Bills didn't make the plays that are necessary, even though the Titans didn't have all of their guys. So the Bills have to show we are actually the team that we look like we are right now. We're getting everything together. We're getting hot. And it doesn't matter if we're playing a team that has a better record than us. We're still better than them. So I think there's no moral victory in losing a close game. Nothing like that. It's win or it's nothing. You have to win a game like this.
I mean, I agree. I agree because in the eyes of, maybe not the Bills fans, but yeah, in the eyes of some Bills fans too, in the eyes of the media, in the eyes of what we're thinking about this team, this is kind of like, I don't want to say it this way, but it's kind of a lose-lose situation for the Bills because everyone in the media is going to be, if the Bills lose, it's going to be like, see, we told you they weren't ready to play a team like the Steelers. But if the Bills win, it'll be, well, the Steelers are banged up and they were missing a lot of guys on defense and, they had a lot of injuries and whatever. Like it just feels like to me like that's kind of been the story of the season for Bills wins. It's like more of a culmination of kind of what we've seen all year. We beat the Rams, it was because Goff didn't play well. We beat the Seahawks, it's because this reason or that. Like there's always been some reason like why the other team lost and not why the Bills won. And so to Nap's point, like, yeah, you have to win because there will be no moral victory in losing. If we lose, Bills fans have been a little bit on their high horse this week. Let's not like shy away from that. The Bills fans have been very confident this week, rightfully so, because we should win this game. But if they don't, we're going to have to hear it from the likes of Keyshawn Johnson and whoever else that
Nick Wright.
We don't have a signature. We don't have a signature
prime.
win. Yeah. Keyshawn was the one who said this has to be, we have to win because this is would be a signature win. We don't have any other signature wins all year. So like all of that aside, the Bills have to win because I agree with what you just said, Nap. They're a better team regardless of what the record says at this point in the season when these two teams are playing right now, week 14. The Bills are the better team on paper tonight and they need to win.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Keyshawn Johnson, of all the narratives out there this week, he set himself up the best for future success because if the Buffalo Bills win, Keyshawn Johnson can throw a little parade on his morning show and on NFL Live, and he can say, listen, the Bills are for real. They beat the Steelers. I told you they needed that signature win, and they got it. And if they lose, he can puff out his chest, and he can say, hey, listen, I said they have to have that signature win. They couldn't get that signature win. They're pretenders, blah, blah, blah. Keyshawn set himself up perfectly. Nick Wright, not so much because if Josh Allen comes out here and plays another great game and outduels Ben Roethlisberger, he's going to look like a fool. But again, it's going to be an absolutely unbearable week on Fox Sports if the Steelers win because he will be all about, well, Josh Allen, I told you can't trust him.
Don't forget Terry Bradshaw too.
Ben Roethlisberger, the savvy veteran. I don't even consider Terry Bradshaw like a pundit anymore. Like I feel like when he's out there on Fox Sports, I think they put him outside because it's just easier for them to air out like his dirty diaper that he's wearing underneath his pants. Like I don't really consider Terry Bradshaw a relevant pundit of sports anymore. Because the guy had the worst completion percentage of any Hall of Fame quarterback.
I mean, a lot of people were tweeting about Terry Bradshaw's completions percentage this week, and I put something like that months ago about how he was like a career 51% complete, talking about Josh Allen's accuracy.
It was a different era.
This was during the Chiefs game, I believe, and I'm like, okay, different era. But then everyone else is talking about it this week, so I guess maybe I was ahead of the times. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and thank you, Brian. This is the point we brought up on Thursday's show. I'm sorry, Keyshawn, but before today, how do we not have a signature win? Before today, we have beaten 6 teams who would be in the playoffs if the playoffs started today.
One of the best teams in the league right now. And
yeah, he said the Rams win wasn't a signature win just because it was early in the season. How does that work? Just because you beat a good team early in the season doesn't mean they're not still a good team.
We've beaten multiple teams with 8 and 9 wins. Miami, LA, Seattle. It's a ridiculous take, but someone said it earlier in the comments section. This is just what we're gonna have to put up with forever. I want to switch it back to the offensive side now because there's a point I really want to hammer home today, and that's Stephon Diggs. I mentioned it when I was with Clay and Bot. This Pittsburgh team is a team that likes to get pressure from the interior and force the quarterback outside the pocket, which I think works in Josh Allen's favor. They like to have the quarterback make the plays outside the hash marks, which again favors Josh Allen unless they come with a different game plan this week. They are down Nelson. They are down Hayden. It is Sutton and Payne, 2 younger players versus Stephon Diggs. This is a game where Stephon Diggs needs to be the alpha on primetime television. He needs to come out, be wide receiver 1, catch some balls downfield. Not that dink and dunk stuff he's done stuff he's been doing. If there's anything wrong with that. But I think he needs to make a couple bigger plays down the field that he hasn't been making the past couple of weeks. What do you guys think? Dave, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he needs a ton. I think 1 or 2, 20, maybe 1 20+ play. If he gets a second, great. But I kind of want to see Diggs kind of have a game like maybe we saw Devontae Adams have today, or even the last couple weeks, where he's just soaking up targets, and maybe he breaks a big one for a touchdown with some yak, right? I don't necessarily even think it has to be all air yardage. Even if he breaks a 15-yard air yard catch and then takes it to the house, I mean, that would be amazing. And honestly, It would be amazing if he ended up breaking the Bills single season reception mark tonight. I think he needs 10 to tie and 11 to beat it. I mean, could this be a night where Stephon Diggs, if Josh Allen throws it 40, 50 times, racks up 11 catches and we see him break that record? I think he's primed for it. He's not going to shy away from the lights. As we know, he's, that's the one of the many things I love about Stephon Diggs is that, Steve, you always say big time players make big time plays in big games. And Stephon Diggs to me screams a guy that is ready and who will perform when the bright lights are on. So I'm expecting him to have a great game. And honestly, let's keep that Cole Beasley train running too while we're at it. I know we're talking about Diggs, but those two guys tonight, I think Diggs over 100 yards, maybe he gets at 10, 11 catches. But I think Diggs 100 yards tonight should be a goal for him. Maybe he breaks off 1 or 2 20 plus tonight.
Yeah, I would love to see Diggs have a game like he had against Miami. I know they don't play similar style defense as Pittsburgh and Miami, but what he was able to do against Miami of just constantly creating separation with the Steelers not having Joe Hayden, I mean, that makes a big deal for a guy like Stephon Diggs because, and I said this in the morning show, Stephon Diggs is the type of guy who can get separation on any quarterback, whether they're an average, below average, or great corner. And he's obviously going to make even more separation against those average to below average corners. So without Joe Hayden in there to be that guy to slow him down, he's possibly going to be able to, I'm not going to say run free because like their secondary is still good, but he's going to have a lot more opportunities to make plays without a guy like Joe Hayden in their secondary.
Steve, let me ask you this question right back at you because you mentioned, forcing Josh Allen outside the pocket. We haven't seen it as much this year as we've seen it in Josh's rookie season and last year. Could this potentially be a game where we see a signature Josh Allen rushing performance on broken plays?
Yeah, I mean, especially with those linebackers hurting the way they are, this could be a game. And here's where I'm going to come with this. If I'm Brian Daboll, I'm not scheming Josh Allen to run the ball a bunch, like these jet sweeps and these manufactured runs. Like I don't want that. I think Josh Allen, to be honest with you, is at his best running the football when it's not structured. When the play is broken down and he has a chance. Like think back to his rookie year, his biggest runs were on broken plays. So if you're Josh Allen and the interior of the offensive line can hold up and Cam Hayward and guys like Stephon Tuitt can be held up front and kept in the interior, and he can evade a guy like TJ Watt, there's going to be a lot of room to run. I know Edmonds plays up towards the line of scrimmage and all those things, but those like I said, those linebackers are hurting. So, I would definitely like to see Josh Allen maybe run the ball, but not in a purposeful way. Like if something breaks down, maybe tuck it and run it a little bit. But
agreed.
I'm looking at the two corners, and Sutton is 5'11", and I've been calling him Payne, but it's actually Justin Lane. So I do apologize for that. I was thinking of like all those Michigan guards with the last name of Payne. Like, so I think I was thinking of that when I was thinking of Justin Lane, who's also from Michigan State. But with Minkah Fitzpatrick, as somebody just mentioned Minkah Fitzpatrick, with Minkah Fitzpatrick probably going to be over the top a lot on Stephon Diggs and a lot of bracketing of Stephon Diggs. This might be the game where Gabe Davis has to make some plays on the outside down the field. Justin Lane is 6'2", so he's a bigger corner. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult for Gabe Davis, and the size advantage isn't going to be there. But if Stephon Diggs doesn't step up this game and they are successful in containing him, I think our offensive production is going to come down to whether or not Gabe Davis can make those plays down the field. So that should be another interesting thing to look out at. Who do you guys think are some
question about that real quick? Like what would you think it looks like for Stephon Diggs if he doesn't show up in this game? Because like we've seen him have games where he has great games, and we've seen him have games where he just kind of shows up in moments here and there and he makes the right plays.
Six catches, 60 yards. 6 catches, 60 yards, no touchdowns. 4 catches, 44 yards, no touchdowns. We've seen those games from Stephon Diggs this year, and then we've seen some other games where it's like 12 catches, 140 yards. And one of the things that Stephon Diggs doesn't do that other receivers do is Stephon Diggs doesn't get in the end zone as much as some of the other elite receivers in the National Football League. So if he gets held to no touchdowns, if his yak is below 11 yards, or I'm sorry, his yards per catch is below 11 yards, if he catches less than 5 balls, like that to me would be an unsuccessful day from Stephon Diggs. And that's when you're looking at all right, did Dawson Knox step up and have a 75+ yard game? Did Gabe Davis step up and make a big catch down the field? Did Isaiah McKenzie make some big plays from the slot or on jet sweeps or on those little fake, I don't call them passes, but they are passes.
Shuffle passes.
Shuffles them to Isaiah McKenzie. So, my next question to you guys was going to be that, like, if Stephon Diggs has one of those games, outside of Diggs, outside of Beasley, who needs to step up on offense for the Buffalo Bills to really be effective in this game? What do you think, Kyle?
I'm actually going to roll with it. It's got to be Devin Singletary and Zach Moss, and not necessarily in the running game, but just getting involved in the offense in some way, whether that means they get 20 to 30 yards rushing each, and then they also tack on another 20 to 30 yards in the screen game each. Like, they just have to be involved where we know that, like, they are a threat when they're on the field, and it's not just we're going to throw them out there and you don't have to worry about them. And then you can take maybe the guy who was going to worry about them and maybe shadow them. Maybe they go shadow someone else. You have to make sure that Pittsburgh still has to scheme their defense around. Well, they have a running back who can make a play. So I think getting Singletary, getting Moss involved in the game, I think that's going to be key. And like I said, it doesn't have to necessarily be in the running game, because with a guy like TJ Watt, he's a guy who can get up the field at the quarterback pretty quickly. You could utilize that to get a slip screen in here and there and kind of use his skill set against him.
What do you think, Dave?
I mean, I like that answer. I would say let's double down on that and say, yes, they do need to be effective in the running game. Doesn't have to be a ton of volume, but I'd like to see the yards per carry a little more efficient. But Knox is a guy. Croft's inactive tonight, okay? So it's going to be Lee Smith and Dawson Knox as the primary tight ends. If TJ Watt's blitzing, if Edmonds is blitzing, and you're not going to Singletary and Moss in the passing game as an option, Knox could be another option here in the screen game. The Bills have sprinkled in a few of those tight end swings to Knox this year. I'd love to see them do a little bit more of that. Maybe similar to that play that they like to run with John Brown, where he's on the outside and they kind of like toss it out to him. But maybe they do something a little bit more closer to inline with Knox, something like that, where they let the rushers come up a little bit, more of a true screen type of play. So Knox, Singletary, Moss as receiving threats in the screen game, or as safe options for Josh Allen, where we need to move the chains. I like that. I like those three guys. And honestly, who else is there, right? I mean, Lee Smith's not going to be the guy, right? Even though they tried to make him that guy against
He was
San
wide
Francisco.
open against the 49ers on that epic Gabe Davis catch.
But
no one covered him.
But Brown's out. And if you're saying other than Davis, Beasley, and Diggs, that leaves just those three guys, really, other than Isaiah McKenzie. So I say Knox. Needs to have, again, he's not going to be a high volume guy, but he can make those 2 plays a game that really make a difference.
And let's just go back to that San Francisco 49ers game for a second when we talk about Lee Smith. The 49ers legitimately think of Ryan Bates as more of a receiving threat than Lee Smith, because on the goal line, they were looking for Ryan Bates to come out from his like covered position and to try to.
And Nap, you called that, by the way. You said it would be Dawkins, but
I was really hoping we were going to pull another Dawkins touchdown out. Yeah,
but you were right. They did make
San
that call.
San Francisco was looking for it. Did I lose Dave too?
I hear you.
I can hear you.
Yeah. Maybe we lost Judge.
It looks like he's frozen.
He is frozen, and he's really creepily staring at me.
Did we just like have like a moment where Al went out, or is that just
you went out?
Yeah,
you
were
still here.
So you know what's crazy is the 2 of you went out for me. Anyway,
yeah, that's all. Your internet sucks.
Someone in the comments tell us who was actually out.
But the funny thing about that is like literally like on that Gabe Davis epic throw, like Lee Smith was just wide open for a touchdown. But James Cortez says Bills beat the Broncos, who beat the Panthers, and Browns will beat the Ravens, and the Bills will beat the Steelers. I like it. Yep. Let's just win them all, baby. Let's just win out. Let's win out. I'm actually every game the rest of the season.
Quick sidebar. I really kind of want the Jets to win a game just so they don't get the number 1 pick, and they somehow botch the number 2 pick. Or like if the Jets and Jags tie with 1 win, do the Jags get the number 1 pick as of right now? I think they do, right?
I think it's strength of schedule.
Yeah, I think the Jags would get it right now.
Okay. Anyway, sorry, a little off topic.
Back to what we need to do on offense. I've from some people I trust. They tell me that what Pittsburgh likes to do is Pittsburgh likes to create havoc sort of, up the middle, and they like to force the quarterback to make plays outside the hash mark. So if I'm the Buffalo Bills today, whether it's through the screen game or through the quick passing game, like remember, Alex Smith just beat the Pittsburgh Steelers last week, and Alex Smith has one of the quickest releases in the NFL. Like that guy does not mess around. He gets that football out of his hand quick. So whether it's through the screen game where a guy like Josh Allen holds onto the ball for a really long time, I think the second most in the National Football League, whether it's a screen game where you hold onto the football a little bit longer and trust your quarterback to hold onto it, take a shot, or whether it's the quick passing game, attacking the edge is going to be big to me, whether it's Moss or Singletary, those dump offs out of the backfield, those off tackle runs, Isaiah McKenzie on those jet sweeps, Dawson Knox on short passes and screens, things like that to sort of attack those inside linebackers that are out, attack the other linebacker spot, Bud Dupree spot, with him being out and Spillane being out. To me, that's the key for the Buffalo Bills. Like, yes, you want Diggs to make big plays. Yes, you want Cole Beasley to get his volume, but you want a little bit more balance. And I think you might want to spread the football out a little bit this game and get guys like McKenzie and Knox and Singletary and Moss involved. Not just one of them, all of them. Like, get them all involved in that short passing game, that quick passing game, and let them try to get some yards after the catch and make some plays that way. So I think that's something we might see from the Buffalo Bills this week. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have about 13 minutes remaining until we're going to head out to make sure that we are there in time for kickoff and that Dave can catch Carrie Underwood sing her introduction song.
Appreciate that. I know you're looking out for me.
A lot of people out there don't get to watch tonight's game because it's on NBC, and apparently NBC and DirecTV are like at odds. So if
only in certain states though, I think,
really,
because like I have NBC on DirecTV and I get it. It's
interesting. I have
Isn't CBS at odds with Dish now also? Like there's a couple of the main football channels that are.
I did not know that these networks could be off of things. Like, aren't they? Like, isn't that the point? 247 isn't the channels you're always supposed to get? But no, it is on NBC. It is on NBC, Dillinger Smith. So this game will be on NBC. Okay, all right. I was out. I was only gone for about 30 seconds though. So, so we're getting towards that time of predictions and things of that nature. So, before we get to predictions, Nap, Dave and I like to play this game on our Thursday show, and we asked Mitch a bunch of questions this week about things that he likes to see or things that he's looking forward to or predicting. And you're Mr. Bold Prediction guy. So we're going to start with you first. What is your bold prediction for this game? What is your hot take for this game?
So one of mine, and this kind of coincides with something that you actually talked about already, is I think the first number that I say, it's not going to be eye-popping at all. It's not going to be anything weird. But I think the Bills go over 125 total rushing yards. But I think the bold part of it is that Josh gets 65 or more of them. Because I think with the pressure that the Steelers can create, and the linebackers not all being there because some of them are out with injury, I think Josh is going to have a little bit more freedom to scramble if he needs to. And this might be a day where the wide receivers are covered sometimes more often than other games where he needs to actually scramble to get those extra yards. So I think that's the one. Josh hasn't ran a lot this year. I don't want design runs for him all the time, but I think this could be a day where he scrambles for a good amount of yards, and we see kind of a hybrid mix of rookie Josh and current Josh.
What is your hot take for this game, Dave? You can either repeat your one for Thursday or come up with a new one, because that's what hot takes are.
I want
to this 5 minutes before the show.
I want to repeat mine because I don't know. I want people who didn't get to hear it Thursday to hear it. My hot take for this game is that Tyler Bass will be kicking a game-winning 50-plus yard field goal as time expires, or as time pretty much expires in this game. I do think it's going to be close, although I don't want it to be, obviously in the Bills' favor. But my hot take is that Bass will get his first career game-winning field goal, and it will be from 50-plus yards.
My bold prediction, everyone knows I have two favorite players in the Buffalo Bills. Number one is Saran Neal. I will forever and for always stand my boy in the defense. As Isaiah McKenzie says, one of the fastest guys on the team, believe it or not. But, Dave, who's my other favorite player on this Buffalo Bills football team?
Well, I know you love, he's not playing, but you love Isaiah Hodgins, but I would say Zach Moss. Is that your,
I love me some Zach Moss.
I mean, I had to buy you that Utah shirt after all.
Yeah. All right. So my boy from the real U, the U out west, the University of Utah, I have Zach Moss. Everybody loves a redemption story after that fumble on the 3-yard line and then the benching the rest of the game. Zach Moss goes over 100 all-purpose yards today. That's a combination of rushing and receiving, and has 2 touchdowns. Zach Moss is going to be player of the game. He's going to be the guy we talk about. By the end of the game,
if that happens, we are not losing the game.
If Zach Moss has that kind of day, this game is going to be in the bag.
By the end of this game, in the fourth quarter of this football game, Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth will pull up one of those comparison graphics, and they will be comparing Zach Moss to Kareem Hunt by the end of this football game. Guarantee.
Wow.
Guaranteed.
I can't guarantee that part, but I can guarantee you that Zach Moss, everybody loves a good redemption story. 100+ yards, 2 touchdowns. Zach Moss, book it. Put all the money in your bank account. Put it on the line for that one.
Wow. That's bold.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's very bold.
You went bold. I mean, you did what you said.
I'm giving you a bold take.
Okay.
All right. Here's my next one. Who is the player, Kyle, on the opposing team? And we're gonna take TJ Watt out for the sake of this argument. We're gonna take TJ Watt out for the sake of the argument because everyone knows we got to respect TJ Watt. Who is the player on the Pittsburgh Steelers that we need to respect the most?
Minka Fitzpatrick. He's outside of TJ Watt. He is the best player on their team. And he might even be the best player on their team. TJ Watt's just having a crazy good statistical year again. But Minka Fitzpatrick, like, we've seen how good their defense got after they made the trade for him last year. Like week 1 when they had him, the first week they had him, their defense just flipped a switch and was completely different. They all of a sudden were getting turnovers. It's hard to throw deep on him. He's the guy in the middle of the field who can always make a play. And as much as I want the Bills to take some shots deep, the Bills have to be smart about how they do that. Josh has to be smart about how he goes about taking some shots deep, because you have to respect Minka Fitzpatrick and what he can do for the Steelers defense and the way he can change a game just in a single play.
Yeah, we got a couple of hot takes I missed. I apologize. Anthony Green says McKenzie goes for over 100 yards. And Dave Gove said Krumero gets a touchdown. Ooh.
Wow. That was a Casey level of saying that name.
Touchdown Jesus has been quite the hot button man in the comment section the last couple of weeks. Rico's chiming in. I lost it, but here he is. Darrell Williams keeps TJ Watt sackless, and Jerry Hughes gets the hat trick of sacks. That is a hot take. I will tell you that the way Ben Roethlisberger releases that football, if Jerry Hughes gets 3 sacks today, I can guarantee you the Buffalo Bills win this football game. I get that you guys are guaranteeing if Zach Moss goes over a hundo all-purpose and scores 2 touchdowns, which is something he does in my dreams every night, so it's really not that hard. I'll tell you that Jerry Hughes gets 3 sacks. The Buffalo Bills win this football game easily. Anyway, Dave, who is the player on the Steelers that you think need to be respected?
I said Deontay Johnson on Thursday, but I'm going to steal what Mitch said, and I'll stick to the defensive side of the ball, and it's Cam Hayward. I think, with Dupree out, obviously the focus as far as other than TJ Watt rushing the passer, we're going to have to keep Josh upright. Cam Hayward's the guy that we need to watch out for. And there's just something about like the NBC broadcast. The Steelers have been on Sunday Night Football more than almost any other team in the last 15 years. I looked it up. I think they were the second most behind Dallas, maybe. And they have a love fest with Cam Hayward. So I can tell you right now, the second Cam Hayward does anything good, it's gonna be insufferable. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It's gonna be insufferable from the broadcast. It's gonna be insufferable from Collinsworth and Tirico. So please, if you're the Bills and you're Deion Dawkins or wherever he's lining up, make sure that you are blocking Cam Hayward, and this doesn't turn into a Joey Bosa situation from a couple weeks ago where that man wrecks this game. So Cam Hayward is the guy for me, other than Minka was a good one from Knapp. I think those are 2 good ones.
We got Jeff Garlitz coming in saying, hey guys, new listener, hot take, Poyer gets a pick 6. Thank you, Jeff. And Jeff, here's what I'm going to say. If you like what you've head over the last 2 hours or so, head over to the Buffalo Fanatics. I think we even might have a graphic for it. Head over to the Buffalo Fanatics and just click that join button and become a member of the Bing Squad, and check us out post game. If you've never heard the Buffalo Fanatics before, it'll be a real treat for you post game to hear from the OG himself, Rico Bellany. Hopefully we will see happy Rico, ecstatic Rico, and not rated R Rico. Or if we do see rated R Rico tonight, it will be rated R for reasons of joy.
At least it'll be late night. And, at least it'll be late night and the kids will be sleeping.
Yeah, late night Rico, a little late night Rico post game. So any of you who are watching here on the YouTube, you like what you see, head on over, click that join button and become a member of the Bing Squad. But yeah, I'm going to piggyback off of you, Dave, and I'm going to go with the combination of Cam Hayward and Stephon Tuitt. Like, John Feliciano, Mitch Morse, and Ike Bucker, they got to wear their big boy pants tonight. And they really got to stifle these guys on the inside because, if they do their job on the interior and they force Josh Allen out of the pocket, guess who's waiting for Josh Allen once he gets out of the pocket? It's TJ Watt. Now, Josh Allen does a really good job outside of the pocket. I understand that, but TJ Watt is TJ Watt. So things can get out of hand real quick if guys like Stephon Tuitt and Cam Hayward have a day with the interior of offensive line. All right, that brings us to everybody's favorite portion of the show. We are talking predictions. Dave, what do you got for this game? And people in the comment section, hit us up with your predictions as well.
Yeah, so obviously my hot take was that Bass would kick a game-winning 50-plus yarder with no time left or as time expires. So that means that the Bills will either have to win by 2 or 3 points, or maybe 1 point. So I'm going to say, I think the over-under last I checked was like right around 47-48. So I'm going to go ahead and say, and you check me on this, Steve, I think I predicted 27-24 on Thursday. So I'm going to stick with that prediction. If that wasn't it, it was either 24-21 or 27-24. Either way, it was a Bills 3-point win, something like that in the 20s. I don't think they're going to get to 30 points. I know Bot was mentioning that before we came on. If the Bills do get to 30, I think we will win the game. But even mid to high 20s, I think is a good showing tonight. So let's go 27-24 Bills.
All right. Before we get to Knapp and his prediction, a couple of people were asking about weather. Real feel for the game is going to be 28 degrees, very low chance of precipitation. I believe it rained earlier in the day, but that rain has subsided. So real feel, 28 degrees and very light winds, only about 6-7 miles an hour. So a relatively decent night by Buffalo standards, but part of me wishes they were playing this game in the Carrier Dome because, as Rico said, are we going to get warm weather indoor Josh Allen, or are we going to get that outdoor Josh Allen? Hopefully,
man. The players want it.
Hopefully, the lack of precipitation will serve the Bills well today, and we'll still be able to see that air raid Allen. All right, Kyle. Now that you are fully aware of the weather, you know exactly what the weather is going to look like. What do you think? What is your prediction for this game?
So I think that. Till you actually touched on something that was interesting, and obviously Bot touched on it too, is that the Steelers haven't allowed a team to score in the 30s yet this year. The kind of caveat to that is that the Steelers have had a lot of their defense healthy this year as well, and they haven't played as many offenses that have the passing attack that the Bills have. So they don't know really what it's like to play against an offense like the Bills that can do the things that the Bills can do offensively. So with the combination of those things, the combinations of multiple guys out at every single level, or at least one defensive player out at every single level for the Steelers, and the Bills having one of the top tier passing offenses in the NFL, the number 3 one currently, I got the Bills putting up 30 on the Steelers, but I still have it being a close game. I got 30-27, and maybe even Tilt might be right, game-winning field goal.
All right. I like it.
All right, before I give my prediction, because I know that's what everyone has been waiting for. Just kidding. I probably should have gone first because you probably don't want to hear mine. But we got 270 people watching this thing on YouTube, and we only got 131 likes. So if you are watching this, please take a second to head on over and smash that like. And if you're the one person who gave us a thumb down, just know that I will be crying myself to sleep tonight over that one thumb down. So just feel a little bit bad about yourself inside when you know that a grown man will be sleeping himself to bed tonight over that thumbs down. Anyway, my prediction, ladies and gentlemen, Hoffins, I don't care who you are. I don't care where you're from. I don't care what you did, because me and you, my friend, have the same prediction. 34-24 Bills. Mike Tomlin, Pittsburgh Steelers, Ben Roethlisberger. They understand primetime. They've been there. game's not going to be easy, but I think the Buffalo Bills, with all of these injuries to the Pittsburgh Steelers and all these players out on the Pittsburgh Steelers and just the laser focus that it seems like Josh Allen has right now on just proving the haters wrong, that the Buffalo Bills overcome and they win this game semi-comfortably, 34-24. Again, I said it. This offense. Yep. The offense. I don't think Josh Allen's going to have a big a game as he did last week, but I think we'll see more balance on the offense. I think you'll see some big plays from Isaiah McKenzie. I think you'll see some big plays from Devin Singletary. I think you'll see some big plays from Zach Moss. I think it'll be a more balanced effort as the Buffalo Bills handle the Pittsburgh Steelers 34-24. That
I like it.
Is my prediction. If you like my prediction, if you want my prediction to come true, smash that like. If you didn't smash that like, there's no way my prediction will come true, and you're the reason why the Buffalo Bills lose this football game. Just letting you know. Just letting you know.
You're lucky you didn't jinx them last week after you.
Oh, yeah, that was bad. That was real bad. That was really bad. I believe I gave the Bills. I was like, yeah, the Bills are sitting at 8-4, and I was like, and then everyone like blew up at me. I was like, uh-oh. So I did have their record wrong last week. In my defense, I was pissed wrong. So it doesn't. Someone asked me earlier, like, are you drinking Michelob Ultra? There's two reasons for this. One, I believe that on Thursday's show, Jeff Landers referred to me as Silent Bob. So anytime somebody compares my physique to Kevin Smith, I'm probably going to, start, watching what I eat. And number two, when I get nervous, I tend to drink. So if I'm drinking hard liquor, if I'm drinking some heavy beers, I'll be passed out by halftime. So I'm drinking my Mickeys tonight, and just staying a nice cool buzz throughout the entire game. So, all right, 18 minutes is Cody Finney.
What kind of Steve should we expect on Twitter during the game tonight?
It depends on how they play. Last week it was fun. I got into character last week, and literally every single tweet from our account during the entire game was in caps lock. There was not a single tweet sans caps lock the entire game. I was just like, fuck it, boop boop boop, caps lock the entire game. So that was fun. So PJ says he's gonna go take a nervous poop. Whatever your pregame ritual is, I'm gonna go take off this Buffalo versus everybody hoodie, and I'm gonna go put on my Zach Moss jersey before game time. I wore the Zach Moss jersey during the Seahawks game, so I'm hoping it brings back that look from that Seahawks game. Nap, I believe you have some shaving you got to do before the game starts. I see a little too much.
What? Too much? Where? There's like nothing. What do you mean?
Dude, you like honestly, you need to shave it till it bleeds down there. I don't want to see any.
All right, I got it. I will make that happen. I will do everything I can because I'm about to go watch this game with a bunch of Steelers fans. So I will do anything I can right now to get a Bills win because I cannot come out of there. No, Bills. I'm coming out of there with a win. So
go shave it and then dry it off with a terrible towel. Make best use of your
and then toss that in the trash. Yeah,
and toss in the trash. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, that should just about do it. Whatever your pregame ritual is, you got about 15 minutes to do it. Turn it on over to NBC. Make sure your hands are always visible, Dave, when Carrie Underwood is singing the introduction song.
They'll be visible.
And I don't need you. So Kyle, on Thursday's show, we have this ritual. We end every show with Go Bills, right? So I went Go Bills, and then Dave went Go Bills, and then Mitch gave us the peace sign and left without saying Go Bills. So do not.
Oh no, that is a staple of the show. I will not leave without saying that. Don't you worry. Right, so, that's how I end my shows.
We will start with me. We will go to Dave, and then you. I guess I shouldn't even call you the guest because really this is all of our show. I shouldn't be selfish here. Just because we're the ones on top doesn't mean
it's whatever. It's whatever.
Cody says he did his manscaping today. A Tyler got more hair than me at the moment. So, hey, whatever your pregame ritual is, go shave your balls. Make sure you are feeling nice, limber, and flexible. Get ready for the post-game celebrations utilizing Manscaped. Heading on over to manscaped.com using the promo code Fanatics. You get 20% off. You get free shipping, and you can celebrate every Bills victory in style with manscaped.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we really do need to go at this point because there's a football game in 15 minutes. Go Bills. Dave, what are you doing? Go Bills.
You went out again, man. You went out.
I went out?
Yeah.
Go Bills.
Did you go out? Go Bills.
Go Bills.
That's
You
super